Hello, this is Josh with CourtReserve, and this video is going to go over how you can track foot traffic at your facility, and if you'd like to, how we can also set up a kiosk to check members into reservations, lessons, or events that they book. So I'll start off with the first feature here that is strictly to track foot traffic at your facility. This is going to be a free add-on that we have called the attendance tracker. So if you would like to enable this, we can go over to settings on the sidebar. And if we scroll down to the bottom of this page, we're going to have the add-ons row right here. So we'll want to go to manage add-ons. Then we'll want to find the attendance tracker add-on here. If we enable it, we'll just need to agree to this disclosure here. Once we click agree, we're then going to get a setup button for the attendance tracker. So now I'll go over the different settings that we have. The first one is we can show a status bar after members have been scanned in with the attendance tracker. So if we enable that, we can allow the status bar for sub-admins as well. In just a second, I'll show you how the status bar works and how we can enable it for system users. The next thing that we can display is the member balance. So maybe when a member is entering the facility, we would like the front desk staff to know if that member has any unpaid dues on their account. If we'd like for the front desk staff to see that, we can display the member balance on the status bar here. We can also display the member's membership on the status bar as well if we would like to just be able to track that right when a member is entering the facility. And the next thing we can do is play a success beep when scanned. If we enable this, this will then give us the ability to override the successful beep with a warning sound in the case where maybe the member has a balance on their account, or if they have an inactive or a suspended membership. The last setting here is going to be to allow the manual attendance tracker. If we enable that, there's then going to be a URL here that we can click on to manually check members in. So for the attendance tracker, we will just need a barcode scanner. That's the only thing that you will need on your end in order for the attendance tracker to work properly. Once we go over the kiosk, the self-check-in kiosk, there are going to be some additional things that you can set up for that as well. But for the attendance tracker, we'll just need a barcode scanner. So one thing that I went over previously while going over these settings here was showing the status bar after a member is scanned. This is something that we can enable on an individual level for each system user at your organization. If we want to enable this or disable this for any individual, we can go over to settings on the sidebar. We can go over to organization settings, and we can go over to system users. If you click on the edit page for a specific account, and we scroll down to the bottom of this page here, there's going to be a few settings that I'll point out here. So we can show check-in alerts. That's going to be a little bit different than the status bar. So let me go ahead and check somebody in, and I'll just kind of show you what it looks like from the admin's perspective. So this orange bar right here is going to be what the check-in alert is. So this is sort of just a little alert that comes and goes each time that somebody scans into your facility. So check-in alert is going to be sort of something that shows up temporarily and then goes away, whereas the status bar is going to be this static bar that we see up here. This is going to be what shows membership information, current balance, and information like that. So these are all settings that we can apply on an individual system user. So if, we only want a few system users to see this, we'll just want to go to the edit page for each system user, and then we will be able to just sort of pick and choose who sees that. Another feature that can be helpful here, especially if we are using the status bar for when members scan in, is the new add-on for profile pictures. And the reason for this is because when a member is entering the facility, we'll be able to actually take a look at a picture of this member and make sure it's the same person that's entering the facility. Again, that's going to be an add-on here, so we can go back to settings, scroll all the way to the bottom to the add-ons row, and under manage add-ons, we are going to have another add-on for profile pictures. You'll just want to go ahead and enable that and agree to that disclosure, and you'll have that add-on ready to go. If you want to add a profile picture, we'll just need to go to the member's account. So if I search for my name here and I click on my account, we'll now have an area where we can add, change, or remove profile pictures. And then from there, if I scan in, so let me scan in really quick so you can see me on the status bar. We'll see the check-in alert in the orange bar showing my name. And then if we look at the status bar here, we'll be able to take a look at my profile picture and match the profile picture with the person that is walking into the facility. So that goes over the attendance tracker. That's going to be marking just foot traffic in your facility. But say you want to set something up that will actually check a member into a reservation, lesson, or event that they have registered or booked on their account. Rather than the attendance tracker, what we can use instead is the self-check-in kiosk, which is going to be a little different here. The main difference is the self-check-in kiosk will actually check a member into reservations, lessons, or events that they already have booked on their account. So I'll go over to settings on the sidebar, and then we can set this up under organization settings and kiosks right here. So here we'll just want to click create kiosk, and I'll focus in on the self-check-in feature here. So first we'll just want to create a name for the kiosk. And the second thing we'll need to set up is a PIN code. This is going to be a PIN code that is used to log into the kiosk here. Since the kiosk is going to be public facing, we have a PIN code here so that, a member is not able to accidentally log out of the kiosk. So this is going to be something that admins can use to log into that kiosk, keep it logged in until the end of the day. So if we go over to the self-check-in window, the first setting here is going to be the time frame to check for reservations and events. So this is telling the system how far out from the present time should the kiosk be looking when it comes to upcoming reservations and events. So if it is 1 p.m. right now, with this set to 2 hours, the system is going to be looking out to 3 p.m. to see if the member has any reservations or events from 1 to 3. So we'll be able to adjust this parameter if you'd like to. We can choose to just have the kiosk check into the most upcoming reservation, or we can allow it to check them into multiple reservations at once. So next, we are going to be able to allow check-in for reservations, lessons, and events. We'll be able to pick and choose which one of these they can check into with the kiosk. And then from there, we can also pick which lesson types, which reservation types, and which event categories are going to be allowed options on the kiosk. The next setting that's here is only going to show if you are using the advanced liability form and e-signature add-on. But if you are using that add-on, we'll be able to choose if members are allowed to check in if they don't have a completed waiver. So if a member hasn't signed that general liability waiver yet, and we want to say, don't check them into anything until they have completed and signed that waiver, we can uncheck this setting here. Keeping that unchecked will then allow us to add a message to show if the waiver has not been signed yet. So if you want to adjust this information, change it in any way, you always can. The next setting is going to be the seconds to show success message before accepting next check-in. So this is really just going to be a setting where we decide how much time should the check-in information show after a member's checked in, and then when should that success message disappear so that the next member can check into the kiosk. Next, we can allow a manual check-in. This is basically just going to give us a text field where a member could just type in their member ID number and manually check themselves in if they don't have the mobile app and they don't have a barcode or a QR code to scan there. Next, we can show success check-in information. And if we enable this here, we're going to be able to choose which fields display on the check-in window. So we'll be able to pick from player name, courts, the date, instructors, the time, and the lesson, reservation type, or event category. Then next we can show the profile picture. So we can also show that on the member side with the self check-in kiosk, and we can show that on the admin side with the attendance tracker. So once we hit save changes, that is going to save this kiosk in the system. Once you hit that, you're going to get the URL for the kiosk. If we click on that, that's going to take us to the kiosk page. And this is going to be where we type in the PIN code to log into this specific kiosk. And then we can click the Start Kiosk button. From there, members can start scanning their barcodes to check in. Since I have the manual check-in allowed here, I can also type in a member's ID number manually to check them in as well. Once you are ready to log out of the kiosk for the day, we'll just want to click the Log Out button in the top right corner. And then from there, we'll need to type in the PIN code again to successfully log out. So that goes over the attendance tracker and the self check-in kiosk as separate features. But say that you want to use both of those. So you want to be able to track foot traffic in your facility, but you also want to use the kiosk to have members self check-in to any reservations, lessons, or events. We can use both of these features together. If you are already using a self check-in kiosk and you would like to use the attendance tracker, one thing that I'm going to point out here is that the attendance tracker is automatically going to integrate with your self check-in kiosk. So next, I'm going to go over just a few different pages in regards to the kiosk, and then I'll go over reporting for the attendance tracker in the self check-in kiosk. So if we go back to settings on the sidebar, and we go to organization settings, and we go to kiosks right here, we can click on the 3-dot icon right here, and there's going to be a show details page. On this page, we are going to be able to see successful check-ins and failed check-ins. If we aren't using the attendance tracker, this is going to show us members that checked in and had reservations, lessons, or events that they were registered or booked into. And then the failed check-ins will show us anyone that attempted to check in but wasn't booked or registered for anything. If the attendance tracker is enabled here, we'll still see successful check-ins for any members that do have a reservation, lesson, or event. But the failed check-ins are going to be the people that are scanning in but don't have anything booked or registered on their account. So next, I'll go over a few different reports that we have that come with the attendance tracker. So if we go over to reports on the sidebar, we're now going to have an attendance option here. And if we click on that, we're going to have the heat map. This is going to allow us to see how much foot traffic we are having each day of the week and at what time of the day. We also have the attendance summary. This is going to be more of a breakdown on a yearly and a monthly level. The two main reports that I want to focus in on here are going to be the check-in and the detail reports, because this is going to be where we can get information specifically from the kiosk features and where we can get specific information from the attendance tracker features. So for the detail report, this is going to be a report for the attendance tracker. So this is going to be any members that are scanning into your facility but don't have any reservation, lesson, or event booked on their account. So the detail report here is looking at the attendance tracker feature, but the check-in report here, This is going to be the report that has to do with any sort of checking into reservations, lessons, or events. So if you are looking for reporting when it comes to foot traffic, you just want to see sort of how many people are entering your facility, we'll want to focus in on the detail report. If you want to see check-in information, so people that are self-checking into something that they are booked or registered into, will want to use the check-in report here. Another thing to point out if we are using the attendance tracker and the self-check-in kiosk is for reporting, the member is not going to be both checking in and scanning at the same time. It's going to be one or the other. So if a member scans their barcode and they do have a reservation, lesson, or event, they're going to show on the check-in report, but not the detail report. And if a member scans in and doesn't have a reservation, lesson, or event, they'll show up on the detail report, but not on the check-in report. So when a member scans in, they are only going to show up in one of these areas here, depending on if they have something they are booked or registered into or not. Another thing that I'll just sort of point out a second time here is if we are using just the attendance tracker, you will just need a barcode scanner. You will not need any sort of computer or tablet in order to just use the attendance tracker. But if you are looking to use the self-check-in kiosk, that's when you're going to need a barcode scanner and then also a separate device to run that public-facing kiosk. So if you have any additional questions on this, please feel free to reach out to our live chat. That's going to be this green icon that we have in the top right corner, and we'll be happy to help.